How's it going, everyone?
How we doing?
Hello.
So we don't have a moderator because they got real drunk last night, so it's going to be us three just sort of whiffing. I think we should probably start off with some intros, right? So if you want to take it away.
I'll start off. So my name is Jeff Tong. I'm the founder and CEO of Eternal.gg. We work with the biggest Twitch streamers and gaming leagues out there to create NFT highlights for those leagues and sell to their fans as digital memorabilia. So really innovating the way esports merchandise is going to be in the future.
Awesome. Nice. I'm Nine. I'm one of the co-founders of Lazy Lion, sorry. Just an NFT PFP project that launched in August. And got my other co-founder here as well, Ashur.
And that's it. I think you did the introduction for me. So that's it. I'm Ashur from Lazy Lions, one of the other co-founders.
Awesome.
Perfect. I think to start, we're talking about creators and everything. Creator is such a overloaded word nowadays. I think it'd be great if you kind of define what creator really means to you. So actually, maybe you want to start?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's an interesting question, right? I mean, because the very nature of like NFTs, and if you take a step back, Web3 is, obviously decentralization and giving opportunity to really anyone and everyone. So I think the answer of like, what who a creator is anyone who really produces value to other people. And I think that's why we hear the word community thrown around a lot as well, which is super important. I think we'll dive into, how if you have an existing fan base, which I think is the title of this topic, right? How you can produce value for your fan base and how you can connect further with them, or community, or if you're trying to create it from scratch. We're happy to share about our experiences and what we've been through, I guess, you with Eternal and myself and Nine with Lazy Lions.
And of course, for Eternal, to us, creators are very much focused on more of the content creator side. So that's going to be Twitch creators, YouTubers, TikTokers, all the influencers you see out there. That's kind of what we focus on, trying to figure out how their community can really utilize NFTs to better improve the social experience, also the engagement experience with the actual creators themselves, right? So, to kind of riff off of that, for us, we work with a lot of Twitch creators, and their fans are generally not educated about NFTs, and there's a lot of bad stigma around NFTs in general in the gaming space. So we have to do a lot of education to figure out how to teach them, how to essentially change that perception of we don't like NFTs, it's a scam, into hey, there's actual value built into this, there's utility to this. How do we make it more interesting for the fans themselves? I don't know if you guys have any sort of backlash like that from your side or anyone you guys work with.
Yeah, I mean, I want to take a step back as well. Out of the audience here, who here has purchased an NFT or created an NFT? Just a show of quick hands. All right, cool, heaps. And who here has either purchased or created profile photo, whether it's a Bored Ape or a slime or any other type of okay, cool, we got a raise of hands. Cool. All right, so still a major amount. Okay, just trying to get an idea of who's in the crowd. I think in terms of
yeah, so I was asking have you guys ever had serious backlash, maybe work with partners outside of the NFT space, and how do you guys really deal with that?
Have we had backlash from what, sir?
From various partners that you may have worked with.
Backlash from partners. I'm not sure about partners so much, but I think from community, there's definitely a lot that, a lot of feedback that we've received, right? We've had some amazing highs with Lazy Lions, with the project, and, there have been obviously some dips all around, and there's been some feedback. I think what's really good about with the community overall is there's so much that you can harness by building these Web3 projects with such a large base, right? I mean, because if you think about it, we've got 10 or so people in the team, but we have, over 5,000 holders in the community. There's over 150,000 people in the Discord. And the ways that you're able to leverage co-building a brand together with your audience, which is, if you're in in the stage right now and you're probably thinking, you know, how can you leverage that to connect with your fan base? I think there are so many incredible ways. You know, so some of the tools that you use are pretty straightforward. Of course, we were talking about like things like Discord, Twitter. You know, those are pretty straightforward. I think we're seeing Instagram and some of those as well. But you know, I'd be curious, like, what are some other tools that you've seen that you think are, you know, really basic but important in connecting?
Yeah, I mean, I think Discord, again, is probably the core thing that everyone is using, but there's so much to Discord that most people don't really understand with regards to how deep the bots go, right? So for us, since we're working with a lot of average non-crypto NFT person, we had to make the experience a lot smoother and easier. And we actually made an entire end-to-end marketplace, bartering, and purchasing experience through a Discord bot, which is actually a really smooth experience. So for the average like Twitch viewer or Discord user, you're able to connect your MetaMask account, connect your like wallets or a centralized account to a Discord bot, who then, you know, you sign and authorize that to do various transactions. So then in Discord, you essentially do like exploration trade at this person, and you can trade one of your NFTs for another of their NFTs. But of course, in our case, we have like tens of thousands, if not more, of different like unique NFTs out there for the moments that we do, which is quite different from your collection, of course. So in that case, like Discord bots to us, also Twitch bots is, you know, very massive for us as well. We do a lot of live minting. So some really cool features, like if you're watching a creator as they're going live, the question is always like, hey, how can I replicate that feeling of being in like a basketball stadium or a baseball stadium and someone hitting an insane half-court three-pointer? Like, how can I replicate that feeling, right? And really capture it. And the way we found is like when a creator, a Twitch streamer makes an insane like 360 no-scope shot, whatever it is, people in chat are able to immediately type like exclamation mint, and the past 30 seconds of that mint becomes an NFT, which is ready, you know, available on our marketplace, available in our Discord, and people can trade back and forth right away. But real quick, I want to go back to the thing about, you know, really negative pushback, because I think I'm not sure if most people really experience that. That's kind of like unique to our experience, and that's what's going to happen a lot more as we try to get to the bigger, broader audience. The problem most people have with NFTs, I would say, is like really just the price action at the end of the day, right? Like they think it's way overpriced. They don't want to purchase it. They think it's overvalued. And to a certain degree, like, do you guys think that's true? I know it's kind of like a sensitive question, but do you think that's true?
So is the question, do we think, you know, speculation is driving a lot of the action nowadays in NFTs? Well, is that what the question is?
Not just speculation, but like, do you think some NFTs are quote-unquote overpriced? Well, how would you even price an NFT? Like, how did the community, like, how would you price it?
Yeah. I think it's first off, like, just stepping back and, like, you know, maybe this is just, you know, how we grew up. You know, just, I always like to, like, humble myself and just go, I think it's ridiculous for me to say that this is worth that and that is worth that. Like, I'm not going to be that type of person ever. If somebody is willing to pay, you know, $100,000 or $1 million for whatever it is, like, that's up to them, right? If they see the value, then totally. I definitely don't think it's my place to say this or that. I mean, I do think we're in a period of speculation, for sure. There's no doubt about that. And I think we're starting to see the downtrend. You know, everyone here is probably, you know, has a little bit of ETH or NFTs, and they're looking at it and going, wow, you know, this used to be this much, and now it's like that much. Like, what's going on here? And I think that's just part of it, right? Like, we're always going to have those ups and downs, especially with like a new piece of tech like NFTs. And, you know, I think the stories that grab all the headlines are, you know, hey, like this guy bought a monkey and sold it for $1 million and changed his life. And you don't hear so much of the other news. But to be honest, for me and myself and Nine, we've shared this with the community multiple times. Our biggest interest in NFTs and like what really caught it for us was actually gaming. You know, that's the link that we saw. We're massive RuneScape nerds. Does anyone here know about RuneScape or like play that? I saw like one hand. Yeah, like me and you are the only nerds here, and my cousin. But you know, we grew up playing that game like almost religiously, and that's actually how I got into like programming and all that. And when we found out about NFTs, which is, you know, beginning of 21, so not super early or anything by any means. We totally saw the link between digital ownership and gaming. And that's just like one spectrum of this whole new tech that's going to revolutionize how we access the internet and how we communicate with others. We've seen the first big jump with profile photo collections, and that's the thing that's grabbing all the news. I mean, look, we have a profile photo collection as well, and some of these are going to be meaningful brands without a doubt. And we're working to make sure that Lazy Lions is one of those as well. And we have a super passionate community. I think it's top 60 all-time trading volume, 30,000 ETH, like 100 million USD. So, there've been some amazing times with the community so far. I mean, even the events that we've had this week, it's so great connecting when you've been speaking with people online through Lion avatars, right? And I know you had your event too. But I think we're in waves. Right now, we're in this profile photo collection stage. Maybe some of you out there are like, maybe really into music, and that's what grabs your attention with NFTs or photography, or maybe it's agreements, licensing agreements, whatever it might be. I think these things will come in waves, right? Profile photo, that's the one that's getting all the attention. Gaming is going to be one of those. That I believe is probably going to be the next thing. But it's definitely not my place to say, is it worth it or not.
So with regards to like value pricing wise, what I've realized, we've done a lot of research on memorabilia prior to really committing to this and defining stuff as like esports memorabilia. And we found something that was kind of, I think, weird or concerning, depending on how much you like NFTs, is that for traditional memorabilia, which people compare a lot of NFTs to, is the intrinsic value and like true value to it comes first, not the monetary value, right? So people value a baseball to cash, a card of their favorite player, and they value that for years and years, and only like a long, long time later do people start realizing, hey, I like this when I was young as well. I'm willing to pay more, and then the monetary value starts coming in. People start trading it. People start flipping it. That gets more and more, and you see a lot more price action there. But the thing with NFT so far is that's kind of inverse, right? So we've seen the kind of the price action come out first, and when someone buys a ape or a lazy lion, again, once they buy these things, they start getting attached to it. They start then building like a sentimental feeling to it. Like, hey, I pay this much money for it. I'm willing to hold on to it. You build that intrinsic value afterwards, which is kind of like, I'm really curious how this will play out in the next few months. Are people going to continue to value it if the price is lower, or are they going to do something, regret their decision or so on? Well, it's TBD. But with the bear market though, right, we're able to give people long enough time to really build that true intrinsic value and really like the Lazy Lion brand through various activities you guys do. They'll start really enjoying it, feeling like, hey, I'm part of this community even if they don't own one. And then they will be able to define, hey, I'm willing to spend this money on it because this is a brand that's like near and dear to me. So actually on that topic, like, what are some community events you guys are actually doing with your community?
Sorry, did you say community events?
Yeah, like what are some ways you guys are really activating your community through the NFT project?
Yeah, for sure. So this whole week, I spent the last, I think, 2 to 3 months trying to plan these activations that we had for this week. I think on Monday we ran our first, major event. We had one in South by, when back in Austin. That was our first. It was a little gathering. It wasn't as big, but on Monday we actually were able to hold like a proper, gathering of all of our community and putting faces to the people that we've sort of known for so long since we launched back in August. So it was actually, personally for me, it was an amazing experience. And I got to meet I saw all the lion holders and I saw their lions and I'm like, oh, that's the face that I've been talking to for so long. So it was, for me personally, it was an amazing experience. And we've also done we got them to attend to the Puma. Like we had a Puma pop-up. They got to print their shirts on a Puma shirt, print their lions on a Puma shirt. And we had an amazing turnout there. So there's that type of value as well. But like Ashur said as well, it's, NFTs are valued depending on what the person actually wants, right? They can value it at whatever they want. They like it for the art. They like it for, the gaming aspect that it has. Maybe they like it because they want to attend events. It's, it's totally up to the person. So that's the value that I see.
Absolutely. I think really well said. And it's of course, the word utility is thrown around so much, as is community. And it's funny because I think if you speak with people who have been in the space for a long time, right, they'll tell you to just be just cut the bullshit. I don't know if we can even is it like PG friendly? Just
Yeah,
like
I
cut
guess
it
so.
out, right? Like people can see through that straight away. Like, you know, so many people screaming community, 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 and then they're like, you know, the next day they're just like, what project again? And they're into the next, and they never think about it again. So you can't just throw that word out. Hey, we've got utility. Hey, we've got community. It doesn't work that way. Like that's not the way that you're going to connect with your fan base. It's not going to work. You know, I can only talk about our experience, and I think it has to be you. Like, you have to do it. There's no real other way. I think that's like probably like the one-word answer on like how to connect with your fan base. It has to come from you. So if you're founding the project, like I think about what we did. We were literally in the Discord, like the whole time. As soon as somebody would come in, you know, we just would be like, "Hey King," right, or like, "Hey Queen." And that's just because that's how we spoke to each other, firstly. Like, that's the brand, right? We always refer to our friends and each other as kings. So it only made sense that, you know, when random strangers joined online in Discord, we'd be like, "Hey, king," as well. And what's funny is that it created this culture of, you know, now we're known for everybody just calling each other kings and queens. And that's ingrained in the culture. And it's almost like a nod or like a bow of like showing respect to each other. And, you know, that's what I mean. Like, we can focus on utility. Sure, we've got things like rewards. We give out the IP rights. And obviously, we've got there's a meaningful brand now. And everybody who owns the lion owns the IP rights to that lion as well. And so, you know, there's, of course, utility. People can monetize that in various ways. But I actually think there's a different kind of utility that is a lot more important. And part of why we're here, right, is connecting with the community. And I mean that by the community that, you know, has been built this whole time from the ground up. And, you know, once you've got that culture and people have that sense of belonging, which is, you know, super important, especially when we were going through COVID and lockdown. I mean, you know, so many lockdowns all around the world. You know, it's really fractionalized culture all over the place. So when you're actually at a place where, you know, you do have that, I think it's super important. And that's what we're seeing in, you know, some of the more top projects. I think people get, like you said, it's their sense of identity. It's their sense of community. And it's beautiful because it's online. And it's...
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have much time left, but I'd be kind of curious. Now we'll go back for this. Like, what are some of the craziest things your community members have done for Lazy Lions?
Oh, they've done a bunch of crazy shit. Just look up Lazy Lions on Twitter. Like, there's been so many like cool things that have been done by the community.
Give us one.
I mean,
I think I'd have to. Sorry to cut you off there, but I'd say my favorite is probably the mural that they created of your lion. That's my go-to. So there's a massive mural in Austin. You guys got to see it. Yeah, it's of his lion. So just fan created. It's actually awesome.
Yeah, we've seen murals. We've seen them, you know, painted. You know, fences and everything. People dressing up as lions and like as their lion and rocking up. You know, screaming out "roar" in front of, you know, like hundreds of people and things. Like there's been a lot of cool stuff that's been in the community for sure.
Oh, the tattoo.
Tattoo as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say for us as well, tattoo is probably like the most crazy thing because it's kind of just way too permanent, right? But then, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just how like strong and how much they're willing to help the community, right? Like we get, I'm sure you guys, I don't know if you close your DMs, but we constantly get DMs of like, hey, this is how we can make it better. We should do this to make it better. We should do all this. We're like we only got, you know, 16 hours a day to work, whatever, but like these guys do not sleep 24/7. We're thinking about Eternal. They're thinking about how can we work with the creators better? How can we essentially integrate more games into this? Actually, we had one of our fans, one of our users actually made a full-on game on top of our Eternal NFT collection, right? So you guys ever played Coup, the card game? It's a deception card game. He basically made an online PvP multiplayer version of the game, and it was like pretty good and playable. So you know, we kind of made that a whole tournament around that. So it's crazy the amount of time people are willing to spend around it. Yeah, I guess like closing remarks with regards to, you know, if someone wants to come in and to essentially build a community from ground up, like what do they need to know?
For sure. Jump on Discord, create a Twitter account, be there, be active, you know, be real. Don't, you know, it goes back to that word of community. Don't be throwing that around and utility, just build it. You know, speak to people, connect. Those are the practical things that I would be recommending for sure. I mean, Nine, what are some things that you would be?
I was going to say the exact same thing, actually. Like when we first started, we were the ones pushing the message, and then you got one person in the Discord that comes in, you know, they start to push the message, turns into 2, turns into 3, now you got 10, 15 people, and it just, you know, and they all rallied to Twitter. But it all started with, you know, us just roaring, you know.
Yeah, for sure. You know, for us, I think one thing to really keep in mind is like those first few users that come in, the first 10 users, they're probably going to be there like for their entire lifetime, like entire lifetime of the project. So you really got to take care of them, and they're the ones that's going to drive up initial viral growth, you know, patient zero, if you will. That's going to tell their friends, who then tell their other friends, tell their NFT collector friends, and it's really going to grow and become a culture phenomenon from there. So that's pretty much it, right?
I think that's it. I mean, probably if there's like anyone who wants to ask any questions, but I mean, it's a bit fragmented. I don't know how we're going to accommodate without the moderator, but if anybody wants to shout out a question or something, I guess, before we close.
I think we could chat afterwards. If you guys want to talk about gaming, esports,
and that
let
too
me know as well.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool. Cheers, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.